Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're in a 2023 Toyota Corolla LE all-wheel drive hybrid. And of course, naturally, we're gonna take this baby out for a test drive and get some first impressions about this car. But first of all, one exciting thing I just realized about this new car is that it has a new style key fob. The old Corolla had a completely different key style compared to this one, but this one is much more luxurious, at least though, and I kind of like it compared to the older one. But let's do a quick little walk around before we get too carried away. Huge shout out to Whitby Toyota for giving us this car. If you're in Whitby and looking for a brand new Toyota, come over to Whitby Toyota and we will help you over. And my good friend Ali as well too, he's the one who helped me with this, get this car. And honestly, huge shout out to Whitby Toyota. But this is the vehicle we're working with today, all-wheel drive Corolla LE. And those headlights look really good. And as you can see, the Toyota emblem is blued out just a little bit because it is a hybrid as well too. Nice black exterior color as well too, with our plated black and silver rims over here as well too. And the sleek body style of this one, I feel like it's slightly bigger than the Corolla. Maybe I'm just wrong, maybe my mind is like playing tricks on me right now, but it does feel just a little bit bigger as well. Decent enough trunk space back here, and honestly it's not bad though. And down here we have our spare tire repair kits, and below this should be where our electric motors are, if I am not mistaken at least. There we go. Decent trunk space. Cloth seats in the back. This is a 5-seater, and not much action going on in the back. There's not any ventilation in the rear as well, but we do get some cup holders, so that's a huge plus. Rubber mats on the bottom, some speakers here, and not much going on over here except for the door handle, windows, and another door handle. Now hopping into the driver's seat, where everything is like, the thing I like about this one is how silent it is though. Like, by turning it on, because it is hybrid, it doesn't really sound like much, to be honest. It is super quiet. But that's what I like about this one though. It's not trying to show off. It has nothing that says and screams, look at me, I am loud and I am proud. It's just a simple little Corolla doing Corolla things on a daily basis. One thing I do notice that is different compared to the older ones that aren't hybrid is the completely digital gauge cluster. That shows you how eco you are and how much power you're putting down at the exact same time as well too. Another thing that's different is the bigger touchscreen, because this touchscreen is bigger and it also lacks buttons except for the volume and the power on and off button. And this one does come with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, naturally, because it's 2023 people, everybody wants Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. But let's talk about the engine of this one. This one has 2 electric motors in it and pushes around 138 horsepower to all 4 wheels. And it's actually pretty damn quick for a Corolla. I never thought I would have the same words as quick and Corolla in the exact same sentence, but here we are. The new 2023 is actually pretty quick and really smooth. Aside from being super quiet, which again comes with the nature of it being hybrid, it does accelerate quite well. No head bobbing, no crazy G-forces, just enough acceleration to get you from point A to point B in comfort, and practically you can relax though with this little car. But going on, more about this car. This one is all-wheel drive, and yes, it is hybrid. So in the combined MPG should be around, I want to say 10 liters for every 100 kilometers, and on the highway it drops all the way down to 5.9, which is crazy. This thing is really fuel efficient. Although the LE doesn't come with a moonroof, which I am so much of a fanboy of. I really wish it came with moonroofs, but hey, you win some, you lose some. You can't win everything. But let's just quickly go onto the highway and see how this little baby handles. You can feel a lot of body roll when you go into a corner, but the acceleration makes up for it though. That is impressive. A Corolla is actually feeling pretty damn quick. It's not lightning fast, as I said before, but it is quick enough for you to at least enjoy it quite a lot. And when you step on it, the engine does come to life. This thing is powered by a 1.4 liter 4-cylinder that pushes, again, 138 horsepower with 2 electric motors supporting it as well too. And this thing has a speed warning, like on the speedometer, if you guys can see, it's telling me that the speed limit is 100, and we are in the fast lane, so we should quickly scooch over into the slower lane as we experience this quick little one. This thing's actually kind of putting a smile on my face the more I drive it. There's a lot of, I want to say, road noise. I can hear a lot that's coming in through the road, but that's, again, this is not a luxury car. It's not supposed to isolate you from the road. It still wants you to feel connected to the road per se, and I like it. This thing also comes with heated and ventilated seats, which is a huge plus here in Canada because in winters are brutal. And it also has a heated steering wheel, which is a bit much bigger, huge plus as well too. We also get blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist, and we also get our adaptive cruise control, which we are gonna try out. Push to activate driving. Because honestly, this thing is actually not bad at all. It is a simple little vehicle that does a simple job, and it does it pretty well as well too. Now, if we try and compare it to stuff like the Honda Civic, that is really close. They push approximately around the same amount of horsepower. This one has a whole bunch of new features that I will go over in excruciating detail soon. Like, for example, the last year's models, like the few past years of Corollas, did not have a drive mode or even an EV mode. Well, I guess this is because this one is hybrid, so you get a little bit more of that. But this is what our digital gauge cluster looks like, and if we change drive mode, it only has eco, regular, eco and regular. So it doesn't really have a sport mode, but it also has an EV mode that purely runs on the electric power, which is pretty cool actually. I can't complain. We also have traction control off, which again, if you're in an all-wheel drive car, you rarely want to turn off traction control, because traction control in the snow is kind of a lifeline, to be honest. It really is kind of a lifeline. But let's go over some of the features I like. I like the huge gigantic screen. If we go through our screen here and go to maps, you do have to subscribe to it because, again, not everything can be for free. But it's a nice little feature though this thing has. Just simple navigation. And if we go to our car settings, it shows you the energy flow, the active energy flow as it's happening in real time. That is a cool animation, and I like that. I really do. And of course, we also have voice assist that comes up with everything. We got our settings, like basic simple stuff. This car, I want to say, is minimalistic, but it does it so well. It's simple, it is straightforward, but it's feisty in its own way, if you guys get what I'm saying. Like, it's not something where you're like excited to drive, but it's comfortable enough, and if you need the extra power, it does it well, because again, it's part electric. It takes off pretty quickly as well too. That is like a huge plus if you think about it, really. Okay, let's talk about some numbers now. This thing, from a straight stop from 0 to 60, would take approximately 9.2 seconds, which honestly is not fast, but with the electric motor getting you to 138 horsepower almost instantly, you'll feel like you're going pretty fast pretty quickly as well too. Handling wise, I want to say I'll give it a solid 7 out of 10. I feel a lot of the bumps coming through, but again, this is just how, this is like the base model hybrid. This retails around 30K, which is honestly not bad, to be honest. 30K Canadian. For my American friends, that'll be like around 24,000 USD. But honestly, let's try out this cruise control. Oh, cruise control is unavailable. That is probably because this car hasn't been sold yet. Unfortunately, we can't test out the cruise control, but the power is, I don't want to say intoxicating, but it makes you want to tease the car just a little bit more. Every time you hop into it, you want to see how much you can either save or burn through if you're going pedal to the metal. Like, if you floor it all the time, of course you're gonna get bad gas mileage, but this car honestly makes me want to promote like slow, smooth, and non-dynamic driving. That's how I get a feel from this car. As I mentioned before, this one feels slightly larger. The infotainment, like the climate control, is still the same from the previous years as well too. And let's see if this is where you can place your phone. Kind of tricky to put it in, not gonna lie, but it takes some getting used to. Heated and ventilated seats. And other than that, this is like a pretty simple, non-flashy little vehicle, and I kind of like it, to be honest. Like, it's easy to get used to. This is not something where it takes you some time to adapt to get used to it though. Yes, I kind of wish it had more oomph to it, because the two electric motors kind of got me hyped up a little bit, thinking it would have just like a little bit more horsepower than the regular Corollas would have. But again, I can't be complaining that Corolla doesn't have too much power. It's not built for that. Toyota does not build Corollas to have a lot of horsepower and be sport driven or sport dynamic, to be in fact. These things are built to be economical little vehicles that get you from point A to point B in the simplest of ways possible. I just can't get over how quiet this thing is. Like, I know if I step on it, this thing accelerates pretty quickly, but I just can't get over how quiet this little beauty is. Like, again, don't get me wrong, I love this car, but compared to the Honda Civic, that has much more, because I like things that go fast. So of course I'm gonna be a little bit biased, but I still 100% agree that this is a great car, especially since it's coming in all-wheel drive. That is one thing that sets it apart from every other car manufacturer for the small size sedan, is that this thing is all-wheel drive. And since it's all-wheel drive, it's better than the Civic inherently. The only other one that can kind of compete with this one would have been the Mitsubishi Lancer, which is kind of gone right now, and the Subaru Impreza. But most people would choose a Toyota over a Subaru, like 8 times out of 10 at the very least though. But that's what I like about this car though. This car is so simple. It's hard to nitpick what is wrong with this car though. This car has made itself super simple, and again, there's really not much to complain about this one. Again, you could say I wish it had paddle shifters or a manual mode, because this one does not have a manual mode. It has a CVT transmission. So you could complain about that, but again, that is not what the car was built for. The car was built to be as economical and fuel efficient as possible. Thus the 2 electric motors and the small tiny engine in front. This one does not seem to have any self-parking features. Not that I would expect a Corolla to have any of those fancy stuff. This is like more of a base model. So that is more understandable, to be honest. But drive quality, I really like it. The biggest improvement I've loved, I will keep saying this again and again, is the huge touchscreen and the new key fob. This looks fancy. I like it. It's simple, and it doesn't seem like we have access to the metal key. Of course, you could probably just pop here and then pull the metal key out, but I really do like the key. But anyway, let's head back to Whitby Toyota, the sponsors and the ones who supplied us with this vehicle today. Huge shout out to them, and 100 thank yous to Ali, who so graciously gave us this car to test drive and get a video and some impressions about it as well too. And this guy did not even see me. See, this is what I mean, how quiet this car is. People's awareness of this car, you can barely, not even barely, you can't hear it when it's in electric mode, like until you step on the gas. And if I put it in, let's say, EV mode completely, I am stealthy, I am quiet, I am silent. Nobody will hear me coming. I'm like a ninja at this point, which I never thought I'd call a Corolla like a ninja, but this thing is super quiet and I like it. Like, it's simplistic, it's not showing off. It still has the same body style as the previous years of Corollas naturally, but this one just has a different feel to it. Maybe it's because it is hybrid and it feels a little bit more exciting and a bit more peppy in general, which I also like as well too. Like, a peppy Corolla is something that needs to take over the streets right now, because I see too many Honda Civics, to be honest, and I need a few more Corollas to even out the playing field just a little bit, just by a little bit. And in EV mode, we are consuming basically no gas at all, but I am sure once we go past a certain speed threshold, the engine will kick in, just so we don't strain out the batteries too much. Of course, navigation is subscription based, but let's just show how our power is being diverted, because that is really cool. Interesting. Whitby Toyota navigation. The voice command seems a little bit sketchy actually. Let's try.
Sorry, you have to.
Whitby Toyota, directions please.
Subscribe to cloud service to use navigation feature. To learn more about what you can ask me,
yep.
Please say.
Makes sense. You have to be subscribed to get your hands on the navigation. But again, since it has Apple CarPlay, you could just connect your phone. And look at the power going there actually. If I decide to step on it. It always surprises me how quick this little Corolla is now. Like, it genuinely surprises me how quick this little Corolla might initially be, but it's fun and adaptive enough that you can have fun with this thing if you really intended to, for all intents and purposes. Like, why not? This thing is the perfect daily driver, and not that it's all-wheel drive, it's the perfect daily driver even in the winter as well too, which is a huge plus, not gonna lie. Now, since the opportunity has graced itself for us, we're gonna try a quick little acceleration test. Of course, this thing naturally does not have launch control, so even if I try to rev it up from a stop, the electric motor does not let us rev it up. Because again, that is fair, it is a hybrid. So if we do a 0 to 60 full throttle, it's pretty quick. Well, of course we don't have enough room to give us a whole 9 seconds to get to 100, but we got to 60 kilometers an hour relatively quickly, which is more than enough speed than what the most people need. Like the most regular person would not need anything more than 300 horsepower if we have to be 1000% honest. But anyway, as we head back to the dealership, if you're in the market for a brand new car in the Whitby, Oshawa area, Whitby Toyota has got you covered. And ask for my good friend Ali. Ali will definitely be able to help you get your hands on a brand new Corolla, for example, because that's what he does, man. He has great connections and he's just a great person to work with. So huge shout out to Whitby Toyota, and hopefully this car continues to surprise me on a daily basis. And this thing, again, like I said, this thing is just super fuel efficient. And naturally, this is winding down of the video. Of course, we're gonna naturally try and get every vehicle brand we can under here. And if the channel continues to grow, hopefully we'll get better cars to review, more interesting cars that you guys keep on requesting. Like I know someone in my past few comments would recommend Camaros. Hopefully one day we do get to test drive a Camaro, but for the time being, this is Morty Reviews with POV driving. And honestly, we'll just take it simple for the time being. And this is the end of the video ish. Let's just get back to the dealership, do one more last walk around, and call it a video. Naturally, we get a backup camera as well. And our power button looks much bigger than it usually does in the older models as well too. Nice.